Have you ever made a decision because you were tired of waiting, only to realize later it created more problems than it solved? We all have. And thousands of years ago, so did Sarah. Her choice not only changed her life, it shaped nations, created lifelong tensions, and still teaches us a lesson today about the danger of shortcuts. This is the story of Hagar and Ishmael, and how one hasty decision became a turning point in history. Let's set the stage. God had made Abraham and Sarah a promise, an extraordinary one, that they would have a child, not just any child, but one through whom an entire nation, a covenant, and a divine plan would unfold. It was a promise that would make them parents to descendants as numerous as the stars. But there was a problem. Years passed, and nothing happened. Imagine the tension. Sarah, well into old age, watching the calendar turn year after year. Every month, no sign of the promise. The silence must have felt deafening, the delay unbearable. And then came the turning point. Sarah, frustrated and feeling like time had run out, decided to take matters into her own hands. She looked at Abraham and said, "Go, sleep with my servant Hagar. Maybe I can build a family through her." It was a cultural practice back then. If a wife couldn't have children, she could use her servant as a surrogate, logical in human terms. But it was not God's plan. Abraham agreed. Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian maidservant, became pregnant, and that's when the problems began. Hagar, now carrying the child of the household patriarch, began to feel superior. Sarah's status as the wife didn't shield her from the sting of being looked down on. Jealousy and resentment took root. Sarah mistreated Hagar so harshly that Hagar ran away, alone, pregnant, and deep in the desert. That's where something incredible happened. An angel of the Lord appeared to her. He told her, "You are now pregnant. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery." God saw her pain. God heard her cries. He sent her back, not to punish her, but because her journey wasn't over yet. Ishmael would be born, and life in Abraham's household would continue. Fast forward, years later, against all odds, Sarah finally gave birth to Isaac, the child God had promised all along. Isaac's birth should have been a time of joy, but tensions between the two boys and their mothers quickly resurfaced. One day, Sarah saw Ishmael mocking Isaac. That was the final straw. She demanded that Abraham send Hagar and Ishmael away. The decision broke Abraham's heart. After all, Ishmael was his son, but God told Abraham not to worry, promising that Ishmael too would become a great nation. So Hagar and Ishmael left, wandering into the wilderness again. This time they had no water, no shelter, and no hope. Hagar placed Ishmael under a bush, unable to watch her child die. But once again, God heard the boy crying. He opened Hagar's eyes to a well of water, and he gave her the same promise: "I will make him into a great nation." This story isn't just ancient history, it's a mirror for our own lives. Lesson 1, impatience creates detours. Sarah's plan wasn't born out of faith, it was born out of frustration. When we rush what's meant to unfold, we often complicate what could have been simple. How many times have we forced something before it was ready, only to spend years untangling the mess? Lesson 2, shortcuts don't erase the promise. Ishmael wasn't the child of the covenant, but God still blessed him. Even when we go off script, grace can rewrite the ending. We may delay the promise, but we can't destroy it. Lesson 3, our choices ripple outward. Hagar didn't ask to be part of Sarah's plan, yet she bore the full weight of it emotionally, socially, physically. The truth is, our decisions rarely affect just us. They spill into other lives, sometimes for generations. Lesson 4, God sees the outcast. Twice, Hagar was alone in the desert. Twice, God showed up. She called him El Roy, the God who sees me. Even when people push us aside, we are never invisible to God. What this means for us today: we've all had Hagar moments. Moments when we've been caught in someone else's plan, or when we've made choices we later regretted. Maybe you jumped into a relationship because you were afraid of being alone. Maybe you took a job out of desperation instead of alignment. Maybe you tried to force a dream before it was ready. Those moments can leave us in dry, empty places, physically, emotionally, spiritually. But the story of Hagar and Ishmael reminds us of one thing: God doesn't abandon us in the desert. He meets us there. He provides. He restores. And sometimes the very places we thought were the end of the road become the starting point for something new. The Bible says God heard the boy crying. Not just Abraham, not just Sarah, but Ishmael, born of a detour, yet still precious to God. Life is messy. We take shortcuts. We make decisions we wish we could undo. But even in the middle of those mistakes, God still provides water in the wilderness. So here's the challenge. Pause before you act. Trust the timing. And remember, grace can find you even when you're running in the opposite opposite direction. If this story spoke to you, don't just let it pass. Take a moment right now to think about where impatience might be steering your decisions. And if you're in your own desert season, hold on, because the same God who saw Hagar sees you. For more stories like this that turn ancient wisdom into modern lessons, hit the subscribe button, share this video with someone who needs it, and I'll see you in the next one.